You're listening to the X-Zone Radio Show, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network and X-Zone Broadcast Network. Visit our website at www.xzoneradiotv.com.
Up until now, I've learned to live without love.
The X-Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talkstar Radio Network, X-Zone Broadcast Network, and on Star Cable. Toll-free worldwide is 1-800-610-7035. Email is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is Robert Rail, and Robert is an internationally recognized educator and trainer who offers a variety of proprietary and customized programs to both public and private sector organizations ranging from first-tier corporations, the U.S. government, state and local agencies, foreign governments, and the United Nations. His highly acclaimed programs have been attended by individuals from around the world. In fact, he has delivered his programs in countries too numerous to list here on this show. His programs cover a range of management and communications issues critical to the success of literally every type of organizations, from C-suite executives to law enforcement patrol officers. Joining me now is Robert Rail. And Robert, welcome to the X-Zone.
Thank you very much for having me. I hope everybody out there is having a good day.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in doing the work that you do.
You know, one thing led to another. I got into law enforcement. I did 24 years as a tactical street officer. Mm-hmm. And then from there, after I retired, my wife kids me, I didn't retire. I went to Bosnia as a United Nations police officer for a year in Bosnia. Then I did 2 more years in Kosovo, and then I did a year under the auspices of the U.S. State Department and Justice Department, training the Iraqi police Baghdad.
Tell us a little bit about surviving the international war zone, some of the lessons that were learned.
Well, it was a great opportunity for me to write the book, and I had 19 contributing writers from other countries that work with me and spent time in war zones. So we shared some experiences, everything from some unfortunate deaths to officers that were just absolutely incredible, to meeting people overseas under all kinds of incredibly humorous situations and incredibly deadly and unfortunate situations. So the book is a culmination of many different stories of many different things that actually happened.
Exonation, our guest this hour is Robert Rail, and he is the author of Surviving the International War Zone, Lessons Learned, and we're going to be going back to Robert on the other side of this commercial break, but we have to do a little bit of business here. X-Zone Nation Power Gators is coming, as we all know. It's in the post-production aspects. We're going to be airing very shortly. We're also doing an animated series that John Reynolds is working on, so we're really happy about that. If you'd like to know what the latest news is from the world of Power Gators, just go to www.paragators.org. That's www.paragators.org. And the X-Zone store is up and running. You can get t-shirts, you can get mugs, you can get hats, you can get hoodies, you can get a variety of wonderful things. And that's at www.xzonestore.com. When we come back from this commercial break, Robert Rail is my guest. We'll be talking about his book, Surviving the International War Zone, Lessons Learned. His website, crcpress.com. That's crcpress.com. And the name of Robert Rail's book is Surviving the International War Zone, Lessons Learned. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Don't go away.
You're beautiful, that's for sure. You'll never, ever fade. You're lovely, but it's not for sure. I won't ever change. And though my love is great, and though my love is true,
Robert Rail is our special guest this hour, X-Zone Nation. He's the author of Surviving the International War Zone, Lessons Learned. www.crcpress.com is the website to go to get your copy of Surviving the International War Zone, Lessons Learned, by our guest this hour, Robert Rail. What was it like? What were the biggest differences, Robert, when you were doing... the difference between being a law enforcement officer here and then doing peacekeeping in a war zone?
Well, everything was pretty much on you. When you're here in the United States, or when you're in Canada, or when you're in England or France or Germany, you're in a structured country. Mm-hmm. And when you're in a war zone, it's just that there's no structured. The unexpected is to be expected every day. What you see is something that every day turns out to be something else. Let me give you an example. One day, one of my colleagues and I, we were on routine patrol, and we looked off into a field, and we saw a wonderful sight. It was a wagon and an old man, and there must have been 7 or 8 children, little girls, at play out in this open field, and mm-hmm. It just looked so nice. It looked beautiful against the backdrop of the mountains and everything else, until we realized how really hideous the situation was. And what I'm speaking about is this old man. It's emotional for me, but this old man would go through the villages and he'd pick up little girls, and he would give the parents a couple of coins because the parents were hungry, so they'd let their children go with them. And then he would take them out to these fields, and he'd use them to gather up brass from the war. And the reason why they used little girls is there was a less chance that their little feet would trigger landmines.
Oh, for God's sake.
And this was pretty much a common practice. So it's not a matter of writing up charges and writing mm-hmm. tickets and bringing before a court. And I won't go into great detail how we actually handled this gentleman, but we handled that gentleman. and we made our point of view known, and I wrote about it in the book, and it's one of these situations where the local families were very, very dependent upon having a boy that would grow up to be strong, that could work the fields, and it was just a horrible situation that they would let a little girl go so they could make a few coins or a couple coins that day with their daughter, or an orphan girl living with them to go out in the fields to pick up the brass from the war, from the 7.62 by 39 Kalashnikov rounds, or a shell, or things of that nature.
Unbelievable.
And then you also have to consider that throughout the area of Bosnia and Kosovo, there were a lot of pods dropped, and pods are they drop them out of a plane. Long story short, and the pod would contain a couple hundred bomblets, and then the bomblets would scatter through the air, come down, detonate, and you have to figure about 30% of them didn't detonate, and most of them were in very vivid, bright colors, and this appeals to children to run over and pick them up, and then they detonate. So you're talking about an incredible amount of munitions, and you're talking about an incredible amount of pain and misery and loss all through the Balkans, and it just keeps going on. And people ask me, they say, well, how long does this ordinance stay live? And the problem is, it'll stay live 30, 40, 50 years. They're still pulling things out of the ground from World War II that they're having problems with. And the chemical compositions that make up the ordnance, the explosive material, they become more radical. They become more tedious to work with as time goes on. And some of the bravest men and women on the face of the earth are the people that deal with this insanity.
What was the hardest part for you, being a seasoned law enforcement officer, being a peacekeeper?
I don't deal well at a personal level with dead children. That's one thing that bothered me, and I think the other thing was I'm trying hard to be selective in my words here, with all respect to everyone listening, but it's an emotional thing for me. I think when I wrote the book, it ended up being rather cathartic in so many ways. My wife told me a few sleepless nights, but I remember one time another situation with a child. He couldn't have been more than 5 or 6 years old, and I walked by him, and I look at him, and he's just a wonderful little sight, a little boy sitting there carving on a stick. And there was a woman not far away, and she translated, and I go, "How are you?" And he said, "Oh, I'm fine, sir." And he inquired, and I'm fine, and everything was just perfect. And I said, "Oh, you're making that sharp for fishing in the stream here?" And he goes, "Oh, no, sir. They killed my family, and I'm going to kill them for the rest of my life." We're back with the war again.
A few seconds of reprieve and then back to reality.
It's a never-ending thing. The war, at the time I spent in Iraq, as an example, there was hatred, there was deep feelings, there were many things between. You had the Sunni upset with the Shia, and the Shia upset with the Sunni, and the Kurdish, and everyone had their niche, everyone had their stories and their logic and their hatred, and that was understandable. But I could not believe that was not as fierce and as deep seated as the hatred in Bosnia, as one example. The hatred in the Balkans is endless. It just goes on for one horrible generation after another for hundreds of years. It will never, in my own opinion, and I hate to be negative, but there will never be a general peace over the Balkans. It's going to flare up. The locals say every other generation, every 30, 40 years, that's what you're going to see, another war.
What is the role of a peacekeeper?
The role of a peacekeeper is to be that thin line in society that stops people from spilling blood on a daily basis. You're out there, you're working with people, and you have to represent the best of the best in ethics and feelings. But you have to be ready to present a stone wall of strength at a moment's notice, and you're alone. There's other peacekeepers with you, but you've got to remember, this is not your country. You're not home. You're away. You're away from everything that was familiar to you, and you have to stand up for what's best for the people that you're there for.
What authority does a peacekeeper have?
As an example, let's take Kosovo. The officers that were from all the different countries that there were like 59 countries that participated in the Kosovo mission for the United Nations International Police Task Force, and we had full police executive authority. We could seize people, we could arrest them, we could do an adjustment right there when we caught them doing something. It was very much up to our judgment.
Could we basically say it was martial law?
I think that you could loosely look at that. Okay. Although United Nations Police, we are much more organized than people would ever believe, and I really just totally damn proud of the job the men and women did from all these different countries. Because none of us are home. All of us are we're all in this very foreign atmosphere and very foreign feelings, and everything was so tedious. I mean, you could walk down the street and you could stop on a place on the right to get something to drink or eat, and you could say "Kako steba," and that would mean one thing, like "How are you?" or "How are things going?" But if you were to say "Kako stebi," that could have a whole different meaning, and you might have a fight on your hands right there. So language was one issue, custom was an issue, just the way a person looks at you could be an issue, or didn't look at you could be an issue.
How did your time as a peacekeeper affect you when you came home?
Well, in the book, my wife wrote a couple of chapters, and she did this for all the other wives of veterans that are going off, whether it's Iraq or Afghanistan. Or it took a lot of understanding on her part, and there were things I never even noticed, from me sleeping at night to... Here's an example. I came back from the Bosnia mission, and I didn't realize it, but I was walking around grassy areas and staying on hard surfaces. After a year in Bosnia, I was not comfortable walking on grass or soft ground because I had been so close with landmines for a year. And it became like second nature to me not to walk on soft ground. To this day, I walk across soft ground, and I think in my mind, hell, Bosnia, here, you see people losing feet, losing legs, getting absolutely maimed from landmines. Landmines are one of the most insidious devices around. I taught landmine safety. That was one of my responsibilities other than patrol, and we would tell all the officers coming in from police and military units, we'd say, you are going against the ultimate soldier. The landmine is the ultimate soldier. This soldier does not sleep. This soldier does not eat. The soldier has no love, no compassion, and doesn't hesitate to take your leg off.
Robert, please stand by. You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Exonation Robert Rail is our special guest of this hour. He's the author of Surviving the International War Zone, Lessons Learned. www.crcpress.com. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. We'll be back on the other side of this news break as we continue from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talkstar Radio Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, and Star Cable. Don't go away.
You're lovely, but it's not for sure. I won't ever change, and though my love is great.
You're listening to the X Zone Radio Show, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network and X Zone Broadcast Network. Visit our website at www.xzoneradiotv.com.
So I only know I never want All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again, y'all. Look out. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Listen to me. I despise. 'Cause it means destruction of innocent lives. War means tears to thousands of mothers die when their sons go off to fight and lose their lives. I said war. Good God, y'all. What is it good for?
Welcome back, everyone. Robert Rail is our special guest. He is the author of Surviving the International War Zone, Lessons Learned. It's available at crcpress.com. How long were you a peacekeeper away from home?
Oh, let's see. I was away from home for a year with the Bosnian mission, 2 years with the Kosovo mission, about 13 months with the Iraq, and another little jaunt off to New Orleans for that mess down there.
You know, we touched briefly about you coming home and you stayed off soft grass because of the experiences that you had with landmines over in Kosovo. When men and women who are out there protecting the democracies and the freedoms that so many take for granted back home, they come back home. How are they treated? Are they prepared for the changes that await them, and what should be done, in your opinion, to better help them readapt?
I really appreciate you asking this question. Thank you very, very much on behalf of all the just incredible young. I keep referring to them as young, and I mean no disrespect to them because I love them like family. But I'm an old guy, and they all look like puppies, and they're just fantastic young men and women, and I'm just getting too old here. But one of the really important things was I remember coming back and people would tell me what I should have been doing, what I shouldn't be doing, and all the things that they knew. And I think it would really help if people would just listen to these great people when they come back. If they want to talk about something, let them talk. Don't tell them what you think. Let them ramble. Let them talk about anything they want to talk about. I don't care if it's hockey, baseball, football. It doesn't matter. But when that subject comes up, just be understanding. Spend time with them. And please, don't look at your watch and don't excuse yourself out and don't say things like, well, I don't want to upset you. Maybe we shouldn't discuss this. Let them talk. If they bring it up, they need to talk about it. We have the highest rate of suicide with foreign missions that we know from any other time. And I'm not sure why, and I'm not even sure how valid the statistics are, but I do know all the forces from all the countries are having a tremendous problem with suicide and a lot of emotional problems.
How do the conflicts that we see our sons and daughters in overseas differ from the conflicts of, let's say, Korea, Vietnam, World War II?
I think they were very much and brutally the same. But the thing is, our communication capabilities over what we have now. I think one of the problems is some of our honored veterans that came back from Vietnam and World War II and Korea. They came back to their own countries, and there was a limited amount of communication there through the media. But I noticed when I came back and my colleagues came back, we walk into the kitchen and there it is. We're right back there in Iraq again. I'm sitting there eating breakfast and I'm back there again. I'm seeing some commentator from some area and they're in Baghdad and I just left Baghdad and they're saying things, but they're saying things from a different perspective. The vast majority of the time, they're just wrong. They're saying things that are just wrong. They should. I know they're commentators. I know they're news media, and they have a job to do. But they should do more listening than they do talking. And they're also listening to. They're gathering their information from the higher levels of the public relations instead of the actual boots on the ground that are coming back after a patrol that have been ducking the rounds.
Do you think that this is one time where the media has way too much access?
I really think so, and I know from my own perspective that it's very, very dangerous if you've got media in your group. Mm-hmm. In one way, you're hesitant because they're there, so you're hesitant to do your job. You're hesitant to just react to what you do. Everything is a matter of training. If whether you live, die, do it right, everything is training. If you had good training, you can rely on the good training, and most of the time with good training and a hell of a lot of luck, you get through things very well. Hopefully, I keep saying hopefully. I've been very, very lucky, but other times, you've got some person with a camera, some person asking questions. You don't need them there with you, and I know this is the thing now to embed reporters. Well, yes. Over there we say if you got a guy infested with you, and you go, yeah, we got a guy, we got him stuck with us. It's not, you smile at him and you treat him as well as you can, but it's a real pain in the ass when they get in the way or bothering you with doing what you have to do.
Did anybody ever figure out whose bright idea it was to have members of the media embedded with the members of the armed services?
This started out with a couple of people very lightly through World War II, and especially Korea got into the public relations game. Vietnam especially was slapped in the face stateside. So
it sure was.
That was the situation. I cannot even imagine how bad that was for all the people coming back to their own country after Vietnam and being second guessed and being scrutinized and harassed to the point that they were. It was bad enough what they had to put up with over there, but coming back home, my heart goes out and my respect is there for all the men and women that served and were criticized out of Vietnam.
It seems that one thing society is never short of. We're always short of funds for good projects. We're short of funding for medical, for healthcare. We're short of funding to help veterans who are returning back to the States. But we're never short of armchair quarterbacks, are we?
No, you hit that one on the head, I'll tell you. And the problem is we have people that go over and they go into, let's pick Iraq as an example. Mm-hmm. They would go into the green zone, which was, hey, that was a little bit of heaven on earth if you could get into the green zone for a couple of days. They had a swimming pool in the green zone. They had a couple movie theaters in the green zone. They had everything was air conditioned, real nice in the green zone. So these people that come over from the political end or the news media end, they spend 2-3 days in the green zone and they come back like it's a harrowing experience where if I or my colleagues were lucky enough to get in there for a couple of days, that would have been heaven on earth for us to be in there. And they come back like, wow, I was there. Well, you know what? Just, oh, please, shut up.
Are we doing enough for the returning troops?
Absolutely not. Let me throw this back into the United Nations, how they handled it, because I saw all the different countries.
Mm-hmm.
Germany would put someone out into a war zone representing their country as a representative into the United Nations International Police Task Force, and after 1 year, they were very strict. They would pull them out, and they immediately went through a rehabilitation program where they spent time. Whether they were injured, not injured, it was just required that every German officer spent time. He or she sat down or had time off. Sweden has another extensive program of a couple of months of rehabilitation back into society. All of them. But I noticed the United States, it's, slap on the back, how you doing, great job. Now, just forget everything, and you're back.
It doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. Not at all. It's a strange thing, and I'm sure everybody out there in the listening audience can relate to this. Something happens in your life. That guy in third grade that punched you in the face, if he was wearing a red shirt, well, a red shirt you'd remember for the rest of your life. And my wife said, she said her first date, she remembers the cologne that the boy wore. And, sights, smells, things that happen, they stay with you. They stay with you very, very strongly. Good smells. The first time a child is born and you hold a child in your arm, that smell of an infant or a child, all these wonderful things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you smell blood, in the amount that blood has a smell when there's enough of it flying through the air. It has an odor, and there's others. Burnt flesh. You don't forget this.
So, when you came back home after your peacekeeping, and the number of tours that you did as a peacekeeper, and God bless you for that. And I for one, am.
No, not me, please.
Well, listen, you're part of it. You're part of it, all right? Stop being so humble, because
no, in a minor way. Seriously, I was very fortunate. I was very, very lucky. But there's a lot of kids out there. There's a lot of these wonderful men and women there. They've really walked into some brick walls, and they really need help when they come.
Okay,
home.
so what can all right? So what can we do to help? What can we do to help?
Well, what you're doing right now. God bless you. This really helps a lot, because people hear that, they hear you and I talking about it, and just sit down and let them talk. Another thing that would be great. You go into a restaurant, you see somebody in uniform sitting in that restaurant.
Yeah.
If you can, and I know I'm walking on limited money too, but if you can walk over and just take the bill off the table and say, God bless you, thank you, my respect. This devastates people. I was talking to a couple of soldiers, and they said, I had this one old guy walk over to my table.
Mm-hmm.
He took the bill off my table at a local little breakfast place, and he said, God bless you. He said, they almost cried.
We've talked about the soldiers. We've talked about the peacekeepers. What about the families that are left behind? Your wife, your children, girlfriends, moms, dads. How are they taken care of?
Basically, they're not. Basically, people who come back end up sharing with them so much, and if they don't share with them, that's even worse, because then there's that it's like a shadow, and you wonder, what is there, what is going on in their mind, because moms and dads, brothers and sisters, everybody wants to help, but they don't know what to say, they don't know what to do. And that's why, just to encourage the dialogue, the talking, and that'll cut back an awful lot on a lot of the sleeplessness, a lot of the drinking, a lot of the chain smoking, or whatever else they're outletting with. It's very, very important. But these people need to get off to to somebody to help them too, because they're under a lot of stress. They have their life to lead, and now they've got a person coming back from overseas who is having problems, and it burdens on them, and it burdens, and they need an outlet too.
Is there a high divorce rate for men and women who return back from overseas?
It's like the suicide rate. You have.
Really?
I'm not sure what the rate is in our society, but whatever it is, it's many times higher for them. Yes.
Robert, stand by. We've got to take our final break. Robert Rail is my special guest this hour, Exo Nation. Surviving the International War Zone, Lessons Learned. You can get a copy of Robert's book at crcpress.com. Once again, Robert Rail is the author of Surviving the International War Zone, Lessons Learned. It's available at crcpress.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as we do our wrap-up for today, for Thursday, April the 29th in the year 2010. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone. Our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. I'll be back. Don't go away.
And lose their lives. I said war. Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Get said again.
And welcome back, everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity of thanking all our guests tonight. Elena Lieberman in Hour 1, Hour number 2, E.P. Grandin, Hour number 3, Derwin Boyd, and my guest this hour, Robert Rail. And we're talking about Robert's book that's available at crcpress.com. His book is entitled, right, do you have your pencils and paper ready? Surviving the International War Zone, Lessons Learned. As I said, Rob, I want to take the opportunity of thanking you and all the other men and women of the armed services, no matter where they are in this world of ours, not to mention the members of law enforcement who take care of us here at home, for putting your lives on the line each and every day, and for giving us and allowing us to live in the democratic and the freedom that we do live. So from everyone listening to yourself and your brothers and sisters around the world, thank you very much for all that you've done for us in the past. Something that I think a lot of the listeners, and I know that a lot of society in the United States and Canada forget, is that the men and women in the armed forces have volunteered. They're doing this because they want to. Yes.
They're taking that one step forward for something they strongly believe in. But getting back to the one thing that you said, what can be done, would also a good thing for the families to do is to encourage their members that return from foreign service to stay in touch with each other, because it's a lot easier if you're trying to help. When you help someone else, you end up helping yourself. Mm-hmm. So if there are problems, it's also good to know that you're not alone. You're not the only one that's having problems sleeping or having problems with the way you're looking at things, or your impulse to tear a TV off the wall. It's a very natural thing. The frustration, the aggravation, the anger.
Any more books coming out, Robert?
Boy, when I finished this book, that pretty much drained me for a while. I think I'm going to be spending a lot of time teaching and sharing and working with police and working with a lot of the corporations on threat detection and terrorist threat detection and a few other things. So I wrote another book called The Unspoken Dialogue, and that's on body signs and gestures. So that book is one that I also teach very heavily off of.
Robert Rail, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight here in the X Zone. Congratulations on a wonderful book, Surviving the International War Zone, Lessons Learned. And once again, thanks for being there for us, Robert.
I appreciate it very much, and take care and stay safe.
I will. Robert Rail has been my guest this hour. His book, Surviving the International War Zone, Lessons Learned, is available at crcpress.com. Well, that's it for tonight, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow night at 10 o'clock as once again we cross this time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. So until tomorrow night, if you have a child at home, give them a hug, give them a kiss, tell them they are loved, because the children of today are the leaders of tomorrow, and let's lead by living our lives to the fullest. So until tomorrow night, always keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Good night now.